And we're live. Oh my gosh, I am so excited for today. I really am excited. Today, everybody, we have the fabulous, the smiley, as always, LinkedIn ads expert of the whole of LinkedIn and amazing speaker too, AJ Wilcox. Woo!
Yay!
Welcome, AJ.
Sarah, thanks so much for inviting me. This is an absolute pleasure.
Absolute honor to have you here in your very busy schedule, I know. So I've given you a little intro. Do you want to add to that?
Yeah, sure. Just so people know me, I'm in the state of Utah in the US. I fell in love with LinkedIn ads about 14 years ago when I was running them at a previous company, and they became all I wanted to do. I ended up growing that to become LinkedIn's largest spending ads account at the time, and had great relationships with LinkedIn's product team. And I just went, I want to do this for my career. So 11 years ago, almost, here in a couple months, I started an agency. We're called B2B, and we are 100% dedicated to LinkedIn ads. And that's what I've been doing for 11 years, even with ADHD. I wake up every day super excited about LinkedIn ads.
What do you mean, even with ADHD? Surely it's just perfect.
Well, before this, I mean, in my career, I would get bored of something every year and a half. I'd have to jump to something new. And I wondered when I started my own thing, how long is this going to last till I get bored? But as you know, when you run your own company, there's so much to do. There's so many hats to wear. And so I find I never get bored, and I still love LinkedIn.
Oh, I love that. I absolutely love that. And I think it's so true as a business owner, obviously myself. Sometimes you get to a point and you just think, really, am I still doing this? And I definitely go through moments where I think, this is 10 years almost, I've been doing this. Maybe it's time to look for a new job, kind of thing. But you're right. And then something happens and you go, oh, no, I can keep this on and I can move this in a slightly different direction. Or there's something else that I need to think about here because the business is growing. And you never get bored. Never.
Oh, yeah. Always a new direction to explore.
That's brilliant. And actually because I know I have some questions to ask you, but interesting. We were just talking in the green room earlier about how I'm purely organic and I don't do ads at all. And you're purely ads. And we've got this, we're very different in the way that we work and how we work with our clients. But you said yourself, you like that. You like talking to people who only do the organic.
Yeah. Well, and to give you some background here, I'm kind of a fraud when it comes to LinkedIn ads for myself. And that's because we run ads for all of our clients. It's all we do. But for myself, I think we spent $30 on ads last month. Like, we don't run our own LinkedIn ads. Or we don't run ads at all for ourselves. And
I love that.
So all of my business that I've grown has all been organically on LinkedIn. I have a podcast, and that probably generates half of our leads. But the other half, when they say, how have you heard about us? AJ on LinkedIn, or LinkedIn is the other half of all the answers. So I think we'll have a lot of good stuff to talk about the organic interplay with paid.
Oh my gosh, that's just brilliant. Yeah, because I've never seen an ad of yours. And of course, I would be a perfect target for you because I'm doing LinkedIn for other people. So that's fascinating that you don't need ads yourself because you've done the organic, or you do the organic.
Yeah.
Do we need ads? That's the question.
And I would argue, I mean, if you're, because we're small, like we never have more than about 40 clients at a time. And if I'm okay never scaling past that point, inbound leads can easily fuel my company. But, it took me probably 4 or 5 years to get to that point where there were so many inbound leads coming in, I didn't have to go out and seek them. So it can be done for sure. And it may not be right for everyone, but for me, who I want a lifestyle business that's not huge and I don't want to scale, it's worked out great.
That's brilliant. And that really emphasizes how important both aspects are, the organic and the ads, but for different people in different ways. And maybe one is right for you and the other one isn't so right for you.
Yeah. And, because I've played the long game, when I log into my LinkedIn messages and I see 15 outreach emails that are all cold, I would just call them spam. It's really easy for me to go, ooh, they didn't do it right. Like, you can still message people and you can do the outreach, but it's got to come across better and more well researched. And I don't know, I guess it makes me judgmental towards people who are spamming, who are
Oh my gosh, we're all judgmental, AJ. Shh. We're all judgmental towards people who are spamming. Hey, there's no whispering about it. We don't want to be spammed. Nobody wants to be spammed.
Totally.
You know, and we don't actually want to be sold to, do we? We want to buy, but we don't want to be sold to in that way. So actually, interesting. Would you say that if you've got a company, a client comes to you and says, I want some ads, if they've got no organic presence, would you go, no, you need some of that? Or can you do it without the organic presence? How does it work?
You can do it without organic. So here's the thing is when your company posts, when your ad shows up in people's news feeds, the three things that they're going to see your company logo, they're going to see the number of followers, and then they're going to see the ad content. And so if you run an ad where it says your company page has 16 followers, like people are going to be hesitant. No one wants to click that. No one wants to be the first one to like or comment. And we know that ad's not going to perform well. And we've done it. We've said, oh, don't worry about your organic. Let's, but now what I tell people is if you have fewer than like 1,000 company page followers, go use your 250 invites per month, get enough followers to your page that it's not scary for people to interact. So there's at least that modicum of like the first couple things that you should do. And there's solid interplay there.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's really brilliant advice. So having the ads doesn't mean to say that you have to be sitting on LinkedIn all day and doing the organic stuff and creating loads and loads of content. But actually, if you have a client who's come to you who's already got a reasonable amount of organic stuff going on, does that help you frame the campaign?
A little bit. So they have that minimum number of followers to their company page, so that quiets people's fears. If someone does go click to their company page, as long as it looks like the lights are on in someone's home, it's okay. You don't have to be posting once a week even. I mean, if you're just posting once a month from the company page, that's enough for ads to be fine. You've checked all the boxes. People aren't afraid to deal with you. Now, and then I also get this question a lot of like, our founder isn't very active on LinkedIn. Is that going to hurt our ads? And no, it doesn't. The organic and the paid side, other than just having access, easy access to the company page to see what you're up to. Other than that, like there's not a whole lot of interplay. Until about 2 years ago, LinkedIn came out with a new ad format called thought leader ads. And these are tearing it up. These are amazing. And what this is it's the ability to turn someone's personal post into an ad. You're promoting a personal post rather than a company page post. And now I go, ooh, if your founder's not active on LinkedIn, no problem. It's not going to hurt our ads. But if we can get your founder or an internal thought leader or customers to post about something, and then we can promote that as an ad, those are going to be your highest performing ads that you've got in your whole stable. So yes, now it's really important to at least understand posting interesting things, posting helpful things, getting engagement.
That's fascinating. So why does that kind of ad get more engagement than another kind of ad?
If you think about how when you scroll through your newsfeed, if you see a company that you've never heard of before, there's no reason for you to stop scrolling, or you just keep scrolling. But when you see a person, I think I catch myself going like, do I know this person? How do I know them? Should I know them? What are they saying? We just have more of a connection to people rather than a faceless organization. And so we've done this test where we post exactly the same thing as the company and then exactly the same thing as an individual, and we promote them both to the same audience. And sure enough, our engagement rates are 3 to 5 times higher just coming from an individual. That means 3 to 5 times more people willing to look at it, which that's exactly what you want in marketing. If you're not standing out and visible, then you're not doing anything.
That's massive, isn't it? Because we all know people buy from people,
Yes.
We say it so many times. So that's fascinating. And and it was great when LinkedIn brought that in. Presumably you were jumping for joy, thinking what a great feature.
Yeah, especially when I saw those crazy high engagement rates. And LinkedIn ads is an auction environment, just like every other ad platform out there. And what's so fun about auction environments is when you have a really high performing ad, the platform wants to reward you for that. So they charge you less and then they show you more just because your ad is performing well. So when we run these thought leader ads, because they get 3 to 5 times the engagement, usually that means that we can pay a third to a fifth as much for every engagement.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, so it brings the costs down for everyone. Like this whole barrier to entry of LinkedIn ads, when I used to tell people, you're going to be paying $7 to $12 per click, so get ready for it. Now we're paying like 50 cents to $1 per engagement to get your cold audiences to engage, and then you follow up with them with the more expensive clicks. But it's really lowered the bar for everyone.
That's brilliant, because they are notoriously expensive, aren't they, LinkedIn ads?
Yep, totally. And for good reason. Like when someone says, when someone says, "Ooh, LinkedIn ads are too expensive," I go, "You've got a leg to stand on there." Where I go with that, though, is we had a client, this has probably been 5 or 6 years ago, but they were investing really heavily in Meta, Facebook ads at the time. And we were running their LinkedIn, and we were in contact with their sales team. And what happened is we saw that the costs per click were like a third on Facebook as they were on LinkedIn, which led to a cost per conversion that was a third of LinkedIn. So me as the agency, I'm sweating. I'm like, oh no, they're going to fire us for sure. Like, of course, if I had a channel who was bringing in leads at a third the cost, of course I'd put my budget there. But as we're talking to the sales team, we found out they disqualify 90% of the leads, just throw them out from Facebook because they're not the right people. Meta doesn't understand who you are professionally, but LinkedIn, because we're targeting people by who they are professionally, and that is what qualifies someone as a deal, they didn't have to throw out any of the LinkedIn leads. So when you start tracing that all the way through the sales process, we found that LinkedIn was twice as profitable. Sure, higher cost per click by a lot, but on a cost per opportunity, a cost per closed deal, LinkedIn was half that of Meta. Is amazing. And so it all comes down to the quality.
Yeah, exactly. And it's this, the splattergun approach versus being much, much more targeted, which you're able to do on LinkedIn because of the structure of it. Wow, this is just fascinating. I haven't even got to the questions I planned to ask you. We have got one question, which is quite interesting because I think hopefully we've answered it already. What if most of your followers are on your personal profile and not your company page? Well, I think you've just answered that, haven't you? So thank you, Rakshana, for that question.
And I think in addition to that, your personal followers, they have nothing to do with your ads. When you're advertising, you get to choose who the audience is that you want to go after. And of course, you could export your list of connections and upload it into the platform to be able to target, but most aren't. So yeah, I think with advertising, you're hitting a new audience. You don't have to worry too much about the audience that's already built somewhere.
Okay. So you've got your organic audience and then your ad audience is different.
Yeah. And of course you want more people from your ad audience to follow you. That's great, but it's not a prerequisite. Don't worry if you're not active on either personal or company. Most people aren't going to care. They're just going to interact with the ad that you put in front of them.
Oh, I love that. And then it's what they see right there. They'll take action, or they won't, obviously, but they'll take action on what they see in that moment.
Exactly. Yeah. They're not doing a whole lot of research and clicking through your company to see who the people are and then looking to see if they're active. No, it's actually kind of hard to get from your company to an individual.
Oh, okay. So you don't use, this is just fascinating. So you're not necessarily using, or are you, the current audience in order to work out which ads you're going to be using?
No, unless you want to use that as a testing facet for you of like, let me put out things organically to see what my audience who follows me likes, and then I'm going to create more of that. But just as easily, you can create A/B tests in advertising and say, ooh, let's test this message against this. In the ad platform, you can run that as an A/B test and create both at the same time and run them against each other. But if you do that from the company page, obviously you're posting nearly the same content twice in a row, hoping that you get enough interaction between the two that you can tell which one's better.
Yeah, hopefully so. Brilliant. I love all this. So if somebody is new to LinkedIn ads and they're thinking, okay, I want to do this myself because I'm just going to have a go and just start at a very low bar, what would be the first thing that you would recommend they focus on?
I have a free checklist that I put out. So it's not gated or anything. So if you go to b2linked.com/checklist, I put together
checklist. Okay.
Yeah, I can write it in the chat or something, but I had this exact issue. Every time I try advertising on a new platform, I'm like, yes, I can't wait to launch my first Reddit ad. And then I jump into the platform and realize, oh, I need this access here, or oh, I didn't know that my media had to be in this format. And I always get slowed down. So I released this free checklist. It started out as a little checklist, and now it's, I think, 15 pages or something as a guide. Wow. But anyway, that's totally free. I want everyone who wants to get started to know exactly what they need to have in place and exactly how to go about it, so you're not wasting your time and burning out before you can get started.
Got you. So you talked just earlier about it being a bidding platform, just like all of the others. And because you did used to work in SEO, and then you've now sort of gone over to LinkedIn. So I'm keen to know, is it like SEO when you're running an SEO campaign? Is it like a Google Ads campaign? Is it a mixture of the two? How does it work?
It's kind of a different beast. So I started out in SEO, and I loved it because I love the fact that it's free. You can make adjustments and all of a sudden turn on a free source of traffic. That felt like a really good investment for a company. But I got really tired of the adjustments and optimizations I would make. I wouldn't actually see the results for like 4 to 6 months, because I was working on like big national campaigns. And I got really impatient. So I said, well, what if I learn Google Ads? Because it's still this focus on a keyword, but I get to see my results immediately. By the end of, like, if you're in e-commerce, by the end of today, I can see what I spent and how many people purchased, and I know my ROI. And that's really powerful. So I got into that ad side of things, but I got really tired of, in Google Ads, someone is telling you what it is that they're looking for by their keyword, which is very powerful, but you have no idea who they are. There's no way to know, like, is this person qualified? If you think about it, if you're something like, let's say, Salesforce, you're an enterprise level CRM. If someone's searching for CRM, you don't want to pay $16 for a click if you know that someone's just a one-woman show, just getting started. They're not going to want Salesforce. Like, they need to have some sort of like a simpler CRM. But if you know that it's the head of sales at IBM searching, of course you want to get in front of them. And so that was my intro into LinkedIn. Is I'm not able to target people by what they're looking for right now, but I get to cherry pick the exact professionals who I know would be a perfect fit for me. And now I get to show them something and nurture them towards me, educate them on this product that they didn't know existed before. And that was so powerful. And so I've left Google and Meta and other things in the past. I just love this ability to make sure I'm only showing ads to the people who would make my ideal target audience.
That's incredible. So this again highlights that, your ROI on LinkedIn is going to be much more, it's going to be higher because it's much more targeted. But I have to say, I didn't realize you could be quite so targeted on LinkedIn ads.
Yeah, the targeting is the reason we're willing to pay LinkedIn's premium. We're willing to put up with a platform that isn't quite as smooth and as feature-filled as the other platforms. It is the targeting. Pretty much, I'll say like 90% of the search features that you have in Sales Navigator are also targeting that we have on the ad side. So we can target people by their job title, of course, that's a no-brainer, but job function, like what department someone's in, their level of seniority, skills they've added to their profile. We can target you if you're a member of specific groups, which is really cool. You can't do that on Meta. By industry, by company size, and I don't know. That's like, I've probably only listed about 1/5 of all the options that are available. So if you're already comfortable searching, you're going to be great on targeting.
I love it. So that, looking at that and thinking about that, presumably you have to do less testing, so you're going to get results much more quickly.
Yeah. I mean, the difference between search is like when someone is searching for something, they're usually in the decision stage, they're ready to go. And so you'll see leads closing really quickly. Whereas on LinkedIn, we're targeting someone by their professional self, but we don't know what they're actually looking for or if they're in the market. So it does tend to make sales cycles that are a little bit longer. But if I can nurture someone for a year and a half and get my absolute dream client, that is so much better to me than having a ton of itty bitty small ones that I don't care about along the way. Like if you're whale hunting rather than, I don't know,
Yeah, getting
net
into
fishing.
net and
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm not a fisher. I don't even know why I try to use that metaphor.
You're fishing with a harpoon as opposed to a huge net, basically.
I like this. Yes.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, this is just opening up a whole new world. Okay, so I want to talk about funnels. Okay, so funnels is obviously something that we all have to. When I first started looking at sales and marketing and people talking about funnels, I thought, oh, it just sounds icky and horrible. But actually, it's just a process, isn't it? It's just a process of guiding somebody through a process of getting to know you and learn about you, et cetera, et cetera. So there's different funnel stages of the funnel, and you talked earlier about cold leads and warm leads, etc. So with ads, I mean, what would be great if you could maybe talk us through a funnel or talk about the difference between the cold and the warm and what kind of ads work for what kind of audience.
Yeah, you definitely don't have to use the word funnel. I know lots of people talk about different ways of visualizing, but think of it as sequencing. We as humans, we needed milk before we needed meat. Some will argue you don't even need the meat, but if you do, you need the milk first before you can have things that are more complex. Same thing with your ads. If you go right to your cold audience with a pitch that says, here's what we do, book a time with our sales rep, you are going to hear crickets. Absolutely nothing. Your costs are going to be really high because we talked about in the auction, if your ads aren't performing well, you'll get penalized. You'll pay more than what other people are. And you'll end up with, if you do get a lead, they show up on the call and say things like, so who are you again? Like, why are we meeting? How are you different from your competitors?
Ow.
It's the worst sales call ever, and you paid so much for it. So because we know that going right to a cold audience with the offer that you actually want, like book a demo, we know that's not going to work. So we want to give things to them in the right sequence. And the way I think about it is a funnel, but it's a linear sequence where you get to decide what is going to catch their attention, and then what's going to get them more engaged, and how can I educate them and nurture them so that when they're ready, they will book a demo, they'll come on the call, and they'll already know, like, you are shortlisted, or this is what I want to do. Now we're just discussing details. The calls are so much better for your sales rep or for you if you're doing founder sales.
Wow. So it is. I love that analogy of you need the milk before you have the solid food or something more complex to eat. That's brilliant because, you wouldn't stuff, roast beef dinner down a baby, would you? Let's face it. They wouldn't know what to do with it. I think that's a really interesting point. And nobody will respond. Surely nobody would respond to a hard pitch straight off, whether it's in an ad or not. And actually we were talking about that earlier, about spammy messaging that we get and all that.
Yep. People try, and I do think that everyone should try, just to prove to themselves, and especially prove to their boss. Like, everyone's boss is going to say, I want sales qualified ready leads out of this LinkedIn ads program. I'm going to give you this money, go get it. At some point, you have to prove to the executive, no, this is a channel that when we invest now, we're going to start seeing those 2, 3, 5, 6 months down the road, because we have to educate people who we are. And not everyone is always in the buying, the buying attitude, I guess. Yeah.
So it's, psychologically, you're looking at it in exactly the same way that we look at the organic. You build up the relationship, and even though you're throwing money at it, putting money at it, it's still building a relationship, isn't it? And growing the trust.
Yeah. And to that exact point, I always, one argument I've heard from people is like, oh, I don't want to do like a multiple sequence of steps, because every time someone clicks, I have to spend more money on them. And doesn't that hurt my ROI? Well, we did 2 tests this year with very large spending accounts where we had a full 3-stage funnel built up in both accounts, where in order to get to stage 3, it means you had to have interacted with an ad both at stage 1 and at stage 2. So it's very, very clean. You can see. And what we found is we launched the same exact offers to them, asking for a demo or a call in all 3 stages, stage 1, stage 2, and stage 3. And in both accounts, we found exactly the same outcome, which is the conversion rate in stage 3 is 5 times higher than it was in stage 2. And in stage 2, your conversion rate is 5 times higher than in stage 1. And this blew my mind because I went, ooh, this is what I needed to convince myself that it is worth having someone interact again and paying again for someone to interact with an ad, because as they do, they are becoming 5 times more likely to convert when I ask them to.
That's amazing. That's incredible. So your multiple 5 times 5 times 5, you know, the multiple of that by the time they've got to stage 3 is huge.
Yeah, way better. And you're going to be a lot happier with your cost per lead in stage 3 than you ever would at stage 1.
Absolutely. And then presumably your conversion on the sales call is way higher.
Yeah. I mean, I can
so qualified.
I think you and I both intrinsically understand this when we get on a call with someone. If I get on a call with someone who says they heard about me from my podcast, that means they've heard me in their ears for probably 3 to 10 hours or something. They already feel like they know me. They like me. They trust me.
Yeah.
And the sales call is very much like, I know I want to do business with you. Let's talk details. Versus if I see a lead come that says, I found you on Google, I know they're going to hop on and say, like, okay, tell me, how are you different from your competitors? Tell me about yourself. And I have a very different sales experience. And your sales reps feel exactly the same thing. When someone comes educated and nurtured, it's like shooting fish in a barrel. It's easy closes, and they love that.
Yeah, they are ready to buy. They just need to know the price and the logistics.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's so brilliant. And your time, or your sales director's time, is worth a lot of money. And I think we as business owners really need to be, you know, aware of time converting to money.
Yeah, and burnout. I mean, if you're sales rep, if you're just always giving them like crappy leads they have to mine, they're not going to stick around for very long. But if you give them that ones that they really love, they're going to be loyal. They're going to stick around longer. And yeah, like you said, their time is worth a lot.
Brilliant. Oh my gosh, this is amazing. I've just looked at the clock. We've got 2 minutes to go. I did say we may go over a little bit, which we may do, but well, let's see. So very quickly, because I have a final question, but before we do that, very quickly, what would you say to somebody who says that LinkedIn ads is a dirty word?
I mean, being so active organically on LinkedIn, like, I kind of agree. I don't like ads myself. I pay for the ad-free service on YouTube, so I don't have to watch ads. But I would also say that when you are doing ads right, what you're doing is additive to the platform. And I can tell when I see an ad, is this something where someone is saying, let me add to your experience, or is it just a cheap pitch and it's just noise? And so I would encourage you, the very first touch that someone has with your brand, you don't even need to mention your brand. It can just be something helpful, friendly. Here's a quick tip, a trick, a strategy, an industry update you need to know about. And if that's the way that people are introducing their brand to you, you're not even going to perceive it as an ad. It won't feel like an affront. And then, of course,
adding value, you're being helpful.
Exactly.
Yeah. Brilliant.
I think that's the right way to advertise, and then it's never going to feel dirty.
Yeah. Great. We've just had a questioning very quickly before we go to our last question, and I think it's a very quick answer. So do you just budget that you will need to pay for the 3 stages as a cost to get the sale?
It depends on the client. Sometimes clients will have a budget specifically for brand awareness, and others it's an all-in, like, here's my amount and here's the goal that I have for sales qualified leads. So yeah, what I look at is I wouldn't recommend trying out LinkedIn ads if you have a budget less than about $5,000, unless you have a very small audience.
That is a really valuable piece of advice, actually, AJ. Thank you. So don't even look at ads unless you've got at least $5,000.
Yeah, and you can do it for less. But what I find is if I'm spending less than that, oftentimes I'll get to the end of a month and I'll go, ooh, I don't have enough data to actually tell me if this is working well or not. And as a business owner, I would love to know as fast as possible, is this working, so I can continue to feed it, or does it suck and I need to cut it and run?
Yeah, exactly. No, you need to have enough data, and presumably that's your ad spend and not, then there's fees and etc. on top of that, I'm guessing.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
But of course you can do it yourself. Like, you don't need to hire someone like us, but I'll put in a quick plug for us. The reason why you'd want to hire someone like us, the average LinkedIn advertiser is paying like $20 plus per click. Our clients are paying $7 to $9. So if you know what you're doing, you can get the costs way down, and it's going to more than pay for anyone that you're hiring to help you.
Absolutely. Gosh, I would never dream. I mean, I know LinkedIn pretty well, but I would never dream of doing my own ads. No, I'd be calling up the expert. AJ, help me. Right, very quickly, 3 top tips. So somebody comes to you and they say, I'm thinking of setting up ads campaign. You've already given one top tip, is don't do it yourself. And I think we can have that as a primary. What other 2 more top tips that you could give our audience who are listening today?
Start with value. And so think about, because if you're watching this show, I know you know how to create good, helpful, engaging content. Start with that. That's your stage 1. And then with LinkedIn, we can retarget people who engage with we call them the thought leader ads. When they interact with that post, now we can start to show them ads that more direct them towards a product. So number 1, think of those things like, what can I promote from an individual that's going to get that great engagement? And then the third tip I have is, like, as you actually go in and start building your campaign, LinkedIn's going to have a whole bunch of default set, and you want to have this attitude of anything that's default, we don't want it. So you're going to uncheck the box that says, take my audience and go find more people like it. You're going to uncheck the box that says, show my ad on other sites other than LinkedIn. And you're going to change your bidding from max delivery, which is their default, the most expensive way to pay for traffic, to a low manual bid. And I think if you follow that loose advice, you're going to be a lot better off than anyone else.
Oh, I remember you talking about that at Uplift Live when you spoke on stage, and I thought, oh, that's really clever. I love that. So add value, use an expert, and summarizing point number 3.
Don't do the defaults. Don't do the
defaults. Just do
LinkedIn's own advice is bad. It's expensive advice.
Yeah, no, I think that's brilliant advice. Thank you so much, AJ. This has been amazing. Oh my gosh, I could talk to you for hours, but I know we've come to the end of our time. But AJ, thank you. And you have let me just write in the comments very quickly, what is the link to your sheet, your crib sheet?
Yeah. So you can actually find, if you just go to b2length.com and look for our content, and there's the free checklist there, but it's b2linked.com/checklist.
B2, I'm going to put it in here, b2linked.com/checklist. See, I'm doing this all on my own, guys. There we go.
Yeah.
It's in there.
And that's a ton of free information for anyone who's interested in starting. I also host the LinkedIn Ads Show podcast. We have over 160 episodes at this point, all free. Each one a deep dive into some crazy area of LinkedIn ads. We go really advanced. So if you want to do it yourself, I have tons of resources out there for anyone to do it free.
Absolutely brilliant. This has been amazing. So, the idea is maybe you start doing it free because you really can't afford anybody else to do it. But the minute you can, go to AJ, because you get such better results. So brilliant. Thank you, AJ Wilcox. This has been amazing. And where's the best place to find you?
Oh, probably on LinkedIn. Come follow me or send a connection request. Just personalize it and say that you heard me on Sarah's show. I'd love to be connected, be a resource to you. Nothing makes me happier than building connections with other people who love LinkedIn.
I know. And that's what's great about you. You do the ads, but you also love actually talking to people. So I'm going to play us out with some music. AJ Wilcox, thank you so much for being on the B2B Live Lounge today.
Anytime.